and it's finally starting to feel like football season. Panthers are in the middle of OTAs, those off-season practices that are technically voluntary.
I feel great about playing football right now.
That was in April. That was the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. I feel great about playing football right now. That was in April. He must be itching in June. When can we go 11 on 11, full pads, full contact, full drive up and down the practice field?
He said that before the draft, if I remember correctly.
He said that before the draft.
Before the draft.
It was like April 16th. It was
Something
along
like
those
that.
lines. The Panthers put out episode 1 of their behind-the-scenes off-season show they call The Blueprint. What can we learn from it? Well, first of all, they're not the only ones that do this. There's one Jets drive for the Jets. There's something purple for the Ravens. Like every team has what I call state-owned media. Right? This is propaganda.
Yeah.
This is always going to be positive. If there is like a fight at practice, unless the coach is framing it as we're a passionate group of gritty guys, you're not going to hear about it on these things. But we can learn, it's like almost through that lens we can learn something about the Panthers, right? Because if they own the media, if this is produced by them, everything that is put out is something they want us to know, so we can learn what they want to highlight. Right? I don't know why this is the example that popped in my head, and this is not in my notes. This is completely off the top of the dome. Like if you're putting together like a Backstreet Boys or an NSYNC, because they used to be put together, literally like would have no chemistry. They'd just be like, you guys are all generically looking like boy band. Let's go sing. Whoever's getting all the solos, that's who they want to be the star, right? It's like, oh, look at this. He's the solo on all the big hits. They're trying to turn him into Justin Timberlake.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's somebody super featured in the Panthers' own propaganda videos or an idea that is super featured in the Panthers' own propaganda videos, that's the Panthers saying, we're trying to turn this guy into Justin Timberlake. Or at least they're trying to make that part of their identity.
This guy's a star.
They are trying to make Bryce Young a star. Makes sense. But more importantly, they're selling us the dream of something we've been asking for. The 4 horsemen of the franchise, David Tepper, Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, Bryce Young. They're selling us the dream with the lead singer being Dave Canales, actually. I mean, this was the Dave Canales showcase on their state-owned propaganda video known as Blueprint. They showed endearing moments where it appears as if he doesn't know he's being recorded as he talks to his kids about how cool it is to be on a private jet. They showed him at the Senior Bowl interacting with college coaches. They showed this was like the Dave Canales variety hour with appearances from Dave Tepper. Very, very, very minor role for Dave Tepper, but he popped up a few times. Appearances by Dan Morgan, playing the role of the former like college roommate of Dave Canales, who the only reason he was there was to lift weights at the beginning and then to say, me and Dave Canales are close, we're buddies, we're close, we're buddies, alignment. And then there was Bryce Young. And whoo boy, did Dave Canales know how to hype up Bryce Young. Here he is doing just that as part of the Blueprint.
Bryce is so much to be excited about.
There we go.
Especially for me coming into this situation where my high hope is that we're playing high stakes games and we have a chance to win the game at the end. We have a guy who can do that, who can lead us there and who can perform in any type of situation. So I think that's the first part of it. And then there's all these other tools that he has, his intellect, his athleticism, his accuracy. You know, I'm seeing it every day right now as we go out to practice.
He can win in the clutch. He can win in all situations except for the one last year. The accuracy, the touch. Dave, I mean, if there was anything negative, they did show, by the way, Bryce Young doing something Dave Canales didn't like in the Blueprint. His feet weren't perfect on a progression. And Dave Canales was right there, all energetic. What I want you to do is your feet here, first and second read, then pop to the check down. Okay? And they were like, yeah! And then they went along with the next play.
But Bryce was the one to ask him, like, hey, was that right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like, hey, we're working together, guys. This is the guy that's going to make our first overall pick from 2023, the guy.
They want that 4 group, that Tepper, Morgan, Canales, Young group in this whatever half hour, I don't even know how long it was, 25-minute episode 1 to just be like a high school reunion where the 4 best friends that sat in the back of every class got back together, and it was like they never left. Then there was the new guy, Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson was not in this thing a lot. Right? To the point where if he is truly, and I know there are some rumors of this coming from Pittsburgh where he played the early part of his career, if he truly was like diva, you might be like, well, why weren't there more Deontay Johnson highlights? And then there's one conversation and you're like, oh, never mind. He's completely satisfied. That's 100% good enough for the only appearance of Deontay Johnson in this entire thing. It was Brad Idzik, their offensive coordinator, had a one-on-one meeting in an office with Deontay Johnson, and this is what he said.
I think I lost that one, Tim.
I'm
sorry about that.
Well, I'll paraphrase. What he says is, what Brad Idzik, the offensive coordinator, says is, listen, when I got here, I told Dave, meaning Dave Canales, we needed that X receiver, right? That one-on-one wide receiver that makes defenses wrong. If they play you with a corner and don't give help with the safety or somewhere else, then they bleeped up. And he said, and that's you. They're going to play. And this wasn't like selling him on, oh, you're going to have a big role. This struck me as you don't go this far with the description of his role unless you believe it, right? So they're going to play him in that Mike Evans role. They're going to play him in the, hey, Bryce Young, you have an override, right? If we call a play, whatever that is, pass play, whatever that is, switch, whatever. And again, I'm not going to name every route. If we call a pass play and they man up Deontay and they do not give him help over the top, you have every right to override whatever the read was and give Deontay a chance to win. That is music to the ears of any wide receiver. The other thing we learned about Brad Idzik, it makes a lot of sense that he and Dave Canales are buddies. Dave Canales, Mr. Energy, Mr. Optimism, he walks onto the practice field and is like, come on, let's go, giving high fives and everything, right? He's an energy guy. Brad Idzik, the offensive coordinator, still wears cleats to practice.
Nice.
I'm actually surprised Dave Canales doesn't. That is one of those high energy moves, right? That is leading from the front, as they say, right? Like, jog over, get water. Oh, I'm racing you.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm here first.
It's that coach. Oh, can't get the old guy, huh? Even though Brad Idzik might be young. He might have players older than he is.
I think he's like 36.
Adam Thielen might be looking at him like, all right, young buck. you can untie the sneakers or the cleats there.
He's 32 going on 33.
So Adam Thielen probably is older than him.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he laces them up. He brings energy. If there was one thing that other than the alignment, that 4 and the praising of Deontay Johnson, if there was another thing that this state-owned propaganda was trying to tell us, it was that the group of Panthers brass, the core, they have energy to spare. Starts with Dan Morgan waking up early just to stretch and lift in his gym.
I love how that's how they started it. Dan Morgan, dog. Just in here, like, I'm getting this 4:30 in the morning, coffee, getting this workout in.
The other thing about the dog, he was talking to somebody at like either the Combine or the Senior Bowl, Dan Morgan was, and he goes, I said I want dogs, and they seem to like that, so I'll probably say that again. Yeah. And the guy he was talking to went, yeah, however they spell it, right? Ha, ha, ha. And Dan looked at him seriously and was like, DAWGS. What do you... No, not however they spell it. It's DAWGS. He didn't like run with the joke at all. He got dead serious on, no, we spell dogs with the W around here.